Greetings and welcome to you, fancy, fancy feathers. I am Shoshana. I am a diagnostics provider and a scanner. I do not accept channeling. I do not accept downloads. I don't use tarot. I don't require any tools, but I do enjoy to use tools as a conversation starter so I know where to start. So today we're going to play a little bit with poker cards. And we're going to do an all 13 signs reading, basically a healing. We're going to do a little healing for all 13 signs. I will try to talk a little bit about love. I will try to talk a little bit about relationships if you're in one. I know that's very important to a lot of people. So, Sagittarius, I'm going to start with you. Last time I did a video, I forgot to timestamp. Your reading. So today I am cheating and I am taking your name from the hat. And I am starting with you first to make up for that accident. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I forget to timestamp and sometimes I forget to do signs. Okay, 13 signs is a lot of signs. Okay, so Sagittarius, we're going to start with you. As you may already know, this is a recovery channel. This channel is for people who want to stay sober from alcohol. This is a channel for people who want to grow and progress. This is not a channel for codependency and clinginess and needing somebody else to complete you. Okay, this is a video about a channel about empowering ourselves at an individual level so that when we are with our person, we are giving them the best version of ourselves. And I mean that energetically. I mean that spiritually. I don't mean that in a material sense. I don't mean that in a superficial sense, because a lot of relationships fail because one or both parties are superficial or materialistic, and that is not going to help a relationship grow. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin with Sagittarius. What is going on with you? These are just collective readings. They are not going to resonate with everyone, okay? So, you are going to get tempted, okay? Sagittarius, I don't know if anyone has ever told you, but you are very dynamic. You are very professional. When it comes to your work ethic, I admire you. Every time I have a colleague or a manager or pretty much just a colleague that's a Sagittarius, it always goes really well. They're very on the ball and competent. And you, my friend, are going to come across some extra money. Whether that is because of your own doing, whether it's because someone just gives it to you, whether it's a promotion, you're going to come across some money and you are going to be tempted. Okay, especially if you are in recovery, you're going to get tempted. You're going to get tempted to celebrate. You're going to get tempted to drink liquor, champagne, go to the casino, go to a concert. Be careful with concerts because most, if not all, about 99% of concerts are just hexes. They're just spells, and you see the crowd completely possessed. So you're going to get tempted, and the healing that we're going to do on you is, with your permission, is going to be resisting temptation. Okay? We're going to put a reminder on you, a reminder on you, so that every time that you are tempted to do something negative, such as relapsing, indulging, um, even having meaningless sexual encounters, um, people's energies stay around your aura for a long time when you sleep with them. When you sleep with them, their aura is around you for about 8 months. Okay? So if you just go around sleeping around, you're going to be carrying that person's energy for a really long time. And the reminder is not going to be on you, it's going to be in front of your eyes. So every time that you get tempted, you're going to get an alert system that is going to say, "No, Sagittarius, say no to the offer." Because what entities thrive doing is blocking your progression. So entities are going to convince you through emotions that you should indulge. And you might feel good. You might feel really good indulging, especially if it's with a significant other. Be careful not to get in a relationship with a significant other because of a codependent similarity, because you both like the same drugs, because you both like the same wine, because you both like the same whiskey. Be careful with that. It's not going to lead to where your soul and spirit really wants to go. You know, our mind wants to go one place, our body wants to go another, our soul and our spirit wants to go where it needs to be. And that is where you are serving yourself to the highest good. And entities, when they see that you are progressing, when they see that you have a promotion or an increase in finances, they're going to get under your skin. They're going to make you feel suicidal. They're going to make you feel depression. They're going to make you feel like life is useless, so that you give up and you give in to indulgence. And then the next day you wake up and you feel like crap. You feel like you got ran over by a bunch of spirits because you did. And what they like to do, these entities want to lower you down to a zero. Okay? They want to lower you down to a zero. So we're going to clear your third eye from any blockage that is not allowing you to see the consequences, so that you have more strength to preventative measures. You're going to feel like you're going to be able to prevent, not only prevent, but sense. You will be able to sense a danger and prevent it. Remind yourself of the negative consequences that you know are going to happen if you partake in this indulgence. If you have a relationship with someone that is based on drinking weekly, for example, you're not going to go anywhere in life. You know? And then a couple years later will pass and you will think to yourself, why isn't my life progressing? It's not progressing because you're not sacrificing what needs to be sacrificed. Sagittarius, take advantage of this opportunity, because this opportunity is not going to stick. This opportunity has this feeling of, oh, it's going to be here forever. No, it's not. there's an opportunity that's not going to be there forever, even though it looks like it is. So let's say you got in advance and you think that everything's going to go good. So you start gambling and you start drinking, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you have nothing, and all of your resources were drained just because of that tiny little mistake. So now you have this armor where you are more sensitive to sound, more sensitive to energy, and more able to prevent a catastrophe. Okay, and then there's the reminder in front of you that's going to give you an alert system whenever there's an opportunity that you need to deny. Okay, in regards to love, and relationships, I highly suggest that you do not commit to the one that you have a toxic addiction similarity. Like there's an addiction that brought you together, and that is going to lead to codependency, you know? If you're already in an established relationship, how to keep things exciting while in recovery. If you're already in a relationship, I want to say that this is a good time to propose to your person, especially if you're a male. This is a good time to propose to your person or be proposed to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next sign. We have Taurus. Taurus, I didn't shake the hat, but it's so funny how every time I do the hat, Taurus is always like the first five. All right, Taurus, let's see what's going on with you. I have a different collective for Taurus now, so I'm glad that the first collective kind of, you know, dissipated. Because I'll have different groups at different times, and this is a new group, so I'm really excited to meet with the new group of Tauruses that I've encountered. Okay, so the healing for Taurus. Let's start with the healing first and then the love after. Okay, so anguish. We're going to clear anguish. So there's this anguish on the floor, and it's sticky and muddy, and it tries to grab onto your legs and just goes up and digs itself into you. So we're just pretty much clearing all that out, and simultaneously pushing the ground, pushing this tar. It's like this black tar, okay? Because I'm a Taoist, and my teacher always taught me that we can't feel guilt and shame towards ourselves all the time because it's the entities that are to blame. And that is the situation that is motivating me to clear all this gunk off. It's just so sticky, and we're just, now it's kind of crumbling into these little, like, balls. It went from tar to these little balls that don't want to go. So we're just kind of removing all this anguish and guilt and shame, reminding yourself over your forehead. There's some light on your forehead reminding you that it's entities that infiltrate all this evil, all this nastiness, all this darkness is infiltrated by entities. And they want you to feel guilt and shame. They want you to feel like it was all your fault because they don't want you to know that it was actually theirs that just overtook it. And it's like our job is to pop them off. Our job is to reject them. Our job is to void them, erase them, delete them. That's our job. But the guilt and shame can really affect you when you think it was all you, it was all you, it was all you. And if you go back to the roots of the problem, past life, there is a possession that occurred with that karma. So prior to all the karma that was accumulated in a past life, there was a possession that led to that. And the demons don't want you to know that. The entities don't want you to know that. So I'm telling you that. Release the guilt and the shame. Release the, I feel like a terrible person. Release, I can't believe I did all that. Just know that it was possession at some point. Because if you can't forgive yourself, you can't clear the situation. You have to forgive yourself for not being able to prevent whatever the entities caused. Okay. And I'm not going to go into details on what it is that they caused because I am tired of talking about it. Um, People get possessed into doing spells. Okay. So people who relapse, people who do spells, they get possessed to do the drug. They get possessed to do the relapse. They get possessed to do the spell. It's always possession. So we have to prevent whatever leads to that so that there is no possession that leads to the damage. Do you understand? So you already know that it's your anger. You already know that it's a resentment that leads to possessions or relapse or self destructive behavior. But there's something else. There is self harm. When you, it reminds me of that commandment of not desiring what your neighbor has. That's what just came to mind, is not wanting what belongs to your neighbor, what, not desiring what belongs to your fellow. When you desire what does not belong to you, to the point where you get tempted to cause a manipulation scenario because you want something so badly that you're willing to steal it, I want to say, because there's also energetic stealing. Um, you have to look at the consequences. When we are in rage, when we are in anger, we don't look at the consequences, but there's consequences there. As you are desiring something that belongs to a neighbor, you're causing harm to your neighbor by wanting what belongs to them. Like, let's say you want their relationship dynamic. You may not want that particular person, but you want that dynamic. You might accidentally throw negative harm towards that union without realizing that you are causing knots within your own love life. And there's a reason why that commandment is considered a sin, because if you're desiring something that belongs to your neighbor, you're negatively affecting that neighbor and at the same time blocking your own love life. So when you worry so much about what other people are doing, whether it's your friend, a family member, a neighbor, an ex, you're blocking your own love life by not concentrating on what belongs to you. Does that make sense? So we just removed all that anguish, we just removed all that guilt, we just removed all that shame. But there's one thing that really needs to go, and that is your desire for what belongs to your neighbor. Okay? By wanting something that your neighbor has, you're wasting your own time with whatever we're looking for is looking for us. So let's say you're looking for love. Your love is looking for you, and you're distracted looking at what your neighbor has. You're wasting precious time that you can be wasting on attracting your person, because Tauruses, for the ones who are single, I feel like you're not really single. I feel like there's somebody in your sphere that you're considering. There's a commitment. There's like an indirect commitment between you and somebody already. So I don't really feel like Taurus is single right now. I just think that you need to be really careful with not repeating habits from your past to ruin the current relationship that you're really being given mercy. You're being given compassion with the current dynamic that you have with a loving person that you have been encountering. You are so traumatized with certain things that you think that toxicity is love, you know? Um, Aries has that similar trauma. It's like there's the trauma and then there's acting on the trauma. And Aries and Taurus are two signs that really think that love is toxicity, to the point that when somebody healthy comes around, you can't lock it. You just can't, because you're so used to being with something abusive that you just think that abusiveness is love, that dysfunction is love. So when you finally do have somebody that has come around, you don't know how to act because they're healthy. And you kind of tense up and you feel uncomfortable because you're like, oh, where's the toxicity? This person isn't showing me any toxicity. Taurus's current person is not showing you toxicity. For the most part, these are just collective readings. If you are in a relationship, there's going to be more harmony between the two of you during this winter solstice. Okay? So if it's not a person that you're desiring, like let's say it's their car, it's like, let's say you always look at your neighbor's car and you're like, why isn't that car mine? Why don't I have a car like that? Why doesn't my person buy me a car like that? Those kinds of thoughts, if it's not a person. Okay. So I hope that helps. That's pretty much all that I have for you. I wish I could stay longer. Trust me. I wish I could stay longer with each sign. Okay, so we have Cappy. Capricorns are next. Hi, Cappy. So the healing that we're going to do for Cappy. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yours is going to be interesting. So you're having budget issues. You're just like right now, Capricorn, if you can't spoil people, if you can't smother people, you're unhappy. Okay. You like to spoil people. You like to love people. You like to smother people. And if you're not given that opportunity because of a restriction, whether it's an emotional restriction or a financial restriction, you're really grumpy. So Capricorn is going to be really grumpy for just a little while. Just a little while. Until Capricorn fixes his finances. So what we're going to clear from you is in the shoulder area. And I'm basically removing this disc. There's like this disc that's been thrown on you. I don't know where it came from, and it's just over your shoulders. Like there's just like this disc. So we're just gonna have to kind of chip at it and see where it kind of loosens. You are too nice to people. Okay, Capricorn, you are too nice to people, and we're just kind of cutting this disc. I'm gonna turn it to crystal so that it's easier to break because it's taking a long time to chip it. So let's just kind of turn it into like this frozen disc, and then it kind of chips easier. And you see like the like shaved ice is just chipping off. And we're just gonna continue chipping it off as we go. You are too nice to people. You are kind of a pushover. You can't, it's like a disease. It's like a pushover disorder. You're too freaking nice to people. You over apologize too much. And it really doesn't want to go. My gosh, we're going to have to throw boiling water at it. It does not want to go. So we're kind of just running like boiling water on this crystallized disc that we're just trying to get off of your neck. It's kind of chipped off your shoulders, and now we're just trying to take it off your neck because it's all around your neck. And we're just getting rid of all those pieces. There's still some chunks. And um you need to learn how to say no, okay? So you're going to feel a little icy. You're going to feel a little icy. You're going to feel kind of like cold shoulders all of a sudden. Like you're the one who has them. You're going to be like, "Why do I feel like you have cold shoulders? Like you just want to say no to everybody." Because that's the default that you need to be in. You need to be in that default. Your default is hurting you. You might feel some heat around your neck. And you have to put yourself first. Okay? You have to put yourself first, and you also have to prioritize any individual that has been there for you. You need to prioritize them because you tend to kind of prioritize work, and you need to kind of see if you can toss it around so that work is kind of at the bottom and you're prioritizing the people who have been there for you. Okay, and there's still a couple pieces that want to get stuck inside your throat, and we're just gonna not allow them to get ingrained because they want to get ingrained more. And you're gonna have to put some protection, so we're gonna get some gold, and we're just kind of protecting it with a gold fire, a violet consuming flame. So the violet consuming flame is where your thyroid is in that area, and it's just going to stay lit like a candle. So every time this disc tries to come in, it's blocked by a violet consuming flame. And you're going to be hearing yourself say no a lot more often. Okay, and there's going to be a death. Not a physical death, a death in who you used to be. You used to be a pushover. The pushover is dead and gone. Bye, pushover. If you're single, if Capricorn is single, oh, Capricorn is single because Capricorn does not want to keep their options open. Okay, that is why Capricorn is single. If you have a crush on Capricorn and you're like, why are they single? Because they do not want to keep their options open because they already found their person. They already found their person, or they're already going to, or their person is already on their way to them. If you are in a committed relationship, if you are in a committed relationship, your person wants more from you. Your person wants like for you to either move in together or become more intimate. Capricorn, if you're dealing with somebody, they have really strong feelings for you, but unfortunately, their fear is bigger than their love for you. Okay, moving on along. Who do we have? We have Cancer. Cancer. Okay. The feeling that we're going to do for you is we're going to remove all this stress. There's this stress that's like sitting on your face, like on the cheek area. It's just like, stress and agony. So we're just clearing that out because those are entities that want to make you unhappy and unmotivated. And we're just clearing those out and smoothing out so it's nice and smooth around you. You want the energy around you to be smooth and fluid, not, like how it was. Okay. So you're going to just start feeling like you are in charge of your own happiness now, not those entities. Those entities don't have a say. You have a say. They tried to take over and tried to narrate your life. Okay, so we basically just removed these entities that were on the right and the left of you, and all that they have been removed from having a say. So if you hear thoughts, if you hear voices, say no to reactivate this. Just say no. No. They don't dictate your life. You dictate your own. If you're in a relationship, which I think most of you are, if you're in a relationship, you want to not be in a relationship. If you are in a relationship, I'm sorry, I meant to say if you're single. If you're single, you're not keeping your options open. That's what I meant to say. If you're single, you're traumatized by love. You're like, I want nothing to do with love. So if you're single, the reason why you're single is because you're closed off intentionally. Okay. And I'm not going to open you up. I'm not going to open you up because I support, um, I support being on your own with your own thoughts. When people want to get into a relationship too fast, those are the most toxic people. The ones who just, they're like honeybees from one flower to another. Those are the kind of people that get in codependent dynamics. And abstinent, that's the word I wanted to say. I support abstinence for many years. And single cancers are there. Just being abstinent for many years and just not mixing with people because people are like ticking time bombs. If you are in a relationship, your person is very happy with you. They fall back in love with you. Like Cancer has something magical about them, your voice and your eyes, that make the people that you're with fall back in love with you. You know how sometimes people feel like, oh, I can't keep things exciting, or marriage is boring. Well, Cancer, your emotions are always so sensitive and raw that and honest. I feel like you can't keep things in for long. Like if you need to talk about something, you tell your person, we need to talk. We need to talk. And people fall back in love with you. Like even if you've been with them for 3 years, after 3 years, they'll fall back in love with you. There's something about you, Cancers, that makes people fall back in love even if they're with you already. Okay, so don't listen to the negative voices. Till next time, bye. Okay, Libra, Libra. Okay, Libra, we are going to do a clearing for you. Your clearing is associated with addiction, and it's on the brain. It's mental. So we're just going to kind of look at these. They're like veiny strings that are on your brain. They are generational. They go through like lasers. And we're going to go ahead and let's cut them. Let's go ahead and cut them. Okay, and these, you want to be gentle when you're cutting around the head. It depends, of course, what it is, but when you're like around the head area, you want to be really gentle. And this is why I don't let anybody do Reiki on me. There's only one person, actually, two, there's a couple people that I let do healings on me, but like 98% of Reikis, no freaking way. No freaking way. Um, it's just a lot of times they don't know what they're doing. And you have to be very gentle when you are working around the head area. So we've gently taken out these strings and threads, and I like to set things on fire. So any residuals, any like little pieces of threads that came from up there so that they don't grow because things grow. I just like to set them on fire. Okay, so right now your head feels like, what in the world did you just do? I do not use Reiki, by the way. I am a Taoist and I use Taoist techniques, not Reiki. Um, there was a string, a generational string on your brain that was putting you like a mouse to cheese to alcohol, drugs, entertainment, really dangerous substances. And there's something that had you clicked to it, where you cannot remove the click. Now I want you to try again, try quitting again, and see if you can maintain it this time. You need to write a journal on everything that happens when you partake in certain substances such as alcohol or drugs in the past. So, in your journal, write down the worst things that have happened to you during alcohol and drug usage. If this doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. This is a recovery channel, so it's not going to apply to everybody. Um, you take the journal and you just write down the worst things that ever happened to you. And if you know an event is coming up, like a party, you leave the notebook open to that page so that when you're getting ready to go to the party, you're getting ready to go to the dinner, you're getting ready to go to the tea, um, you look at your notebook before you leave. The notebook is open. And what is it open on? The worst things that happened when you drink that, or when you took that, or when you took that. And you might think, oh, well, isn't that fear mongering? I'm over here thinking of the worst case scenario. No, this has to do with safety. This has to do with safety of our energy. Now more than ever, it's so important to make sure that our spiritual hygiene is intact. that it's up to par, because humanity is getting attacked more than ever before by all kinds of entities, shapeshifters, invisible demons, warlocks. Like, there's so many entities that attack humanity 24/7, day and night. And if your vibration is so low that it goes below zero and is like a negative number, which is what alcohol does, by the way. What does alcohol does? It brings your vibration down to negatives. Okay. And when your vibration is at negatives, that is when you get possessed. That is when you get hijacked. That is when you just completely are under something else's control. And when entities take control of an individual, it can last years. They don't just pop off. They are there for years until they are diagnosed and popped off manually. So, Libra, you also have depression. We're taking this depression away from this area here. Like, the side of your eye has like this imprinted depression that came from those threads. And when you get to areas like, well, actually, I'm not going to say that because I don't want people to, I don't want people to take something out of context. Okay, so this depression is very simple to remove, okay? You remove the toxic substance that's causing it: sugar, caffeine, energy drinks, alcohol, and you increase your supplements, increase your supplement quality. If the quality of the supplements that you're taking are not doing it, increase the quality. Try a different brand. Libra, you need to work on the depression, taking care of yourself, loving yourself, and not calling back the thread. Do not call back the thread, because if you go and you relapse after this video, that thread is going to come right back to your brain. It's the thread of generational chains that make you think that every time something goes wrong, you have to run to alcohol. I had to break that chain, and believe me, was it one hard chain to break. I wanted to break that chain when I was 27 years old. When I was 27, I wanted to break that chain, and I was ready, but I didn't have the support. I didn't have the support because everybody around me wanted to partake in toxicity, or let's just say the most important people around me at that time. So it's very important to have a support system set up so that you sustain the recovery, whatever that may be. It may not be a substance, it might be a different kind of addiction. If you are single right now, Libras, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. It's for a reason. It's because you're not aligned. You're not spiritually intact. You know, you smile at people, but behind that smile is a pain that you think that no one can understand. And with recovery, with journal writing, with preventative measures, and one, you have to take care of neurological issues first. So neurological issues have to be first before you attract the right person, because right now you are still, like, I want to say, you're still drinking spiked Kool-Aid. You know, it's like you still want to be up to date with everything that's modern. And it's like, how can you complain about the matrix when you want to be updated about the newest updates within the matrix. Like you're still connected to it and you need to disconnect from the matrix. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are in a relationship, which I highly doubt, if a Libra is in a committed relationship, the person wants to marry you, or you should propose to your person and take your commitment further. That's all that I have for you, Libra. Moving on to Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus, what is the healing for you? The healing for you is your shield. So I want to put something on your shield that is going to repel the constant attacks, okay? Ooh. You don't forget to go underneath, okay? You have to go underneath. So you were under constant attack. You were under spiritual warfare, whether you know it or not. And we're just making your shield so that it repels attacks instead of attracting them. You want to repel them, not attract them. Work on closing up any holes, any pores, any cracks. The things that try to get into your shield try to get up through the top and the bottom. So just make sure that you're sealing the roof and the bottom. So if you don't know how energy works, or you don't understand it, or you're not sensitive to it, be literal. You know, in construction, when there's a hole on the wall and you fix it by caulking it, right? You caulk the hole and then you sand it until it's smooth and then you paint over it. So just think of it as the exact same thing, because just think of it as being literal patch ups. Literally patch up the shield. There's something that you were trying to protect yourself with that was attracting the entities. Don't do that. There's a no to something. Like there's something that you do to protect yourself from entities that's doing the opposite. Whatever came to mind first is probably the thing I'm talking about. Don't do that. Okay? You have to repel them a different way. And it's going to be different for all of you, where you're just going to have to kind of focus and play with your energy and feel which energy repels them as opposed to attracts them. And depending on, because it can be a list of things, and you can try a list and go down the list and be like, okay, I cannot think of the word right now. The things that give, what are you giving off? You know, think about all the energies that you're giving off when you're working on your shield. Which one pushes them away the most? What thought is it? Sometimes it's a thought. Sometimes when you think of unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, you're like, wait a minute, when I'm forgiving, when I am forgiving, when I'm in an unconditional demeanor, when I am in an unconditional mode, there's something that happens. Your shield omits this light that is so bright, it's blinding to the darkness. Darkness tries to come to your house and it's blinded by this heavenly light. So that is the one. unconditional love or unconditional forgiveness. Either or will work. Those repel the entities. When you're in a forgiving state, when you're in a loving state, entities are allergic. Entities are allergic to forgiveness. If you're single, it's because you haven't expressed yourself. You got the upside down joker. Upside down joker can't express themselves. They just can't say the words. You're single because you can't say the words. And there's this numbing. So aliens implant people with numbing devices. If you're in a relationship, you should leave the relationship that you're in because that person is just using you. For some of you, okay? What about the ones that should stay with their person? The ones that should stay with their person, you need to move in and combine finances and have children together. Like become a unit, okay? So that's about all the messages that I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Moving on along. Aquarius. Hello. Aquarius. Okay, so let's do a healing for you. Your healing is going to be protection. So on the right, on the left, on the front, on the back, you have this veil that was thrown over you. People energetically threw this veil over you that is associated with the evil eye. So let's get a shredder. We're going to take a shredder and we're just going to start in the corner, in the weakest point. It's a pretty large veil and it's thick and it's layered by different haters and different evil eye. People who envy you and envy your energy, envy your joy. Whether you're a male or a female, Aquariuses always have this joy. They just do. They're like, oh, I'm around people. I'm going to feel joy. It's like people cheer you up and you cheer up people. And it's like, it's healing. Aquarius, if you're not a jealous zombie, an Aquarius can actually heal you. But because there's so many jealous zombies out there, they don't get the healing that they could have got if they weren't a jealous zombie. And we have healing energy. I have healing energy. You have healing energy. We all have healing energy. We are talented and in different unique talents where some people are really good at shielding people, some are really good at exercising, some are really good at acupuncture, some are really good at interpreting dreams, some are like everyone is good at something. And Aquarius, you have this healing energy, and unfortunately we live in such a dog world where people envy your healing energy. So we're just going to start at the weakest point of this veil, and we're just kind of tugging at the threads, at the weakest threads, and it's coming apart like wool. It's coming apart like crochet. It's just kind of coming apart, and then we're just pulling it away, and we're just going to kind of do that in the background. We're just going to be kind of pulling it away. It's so crazy because as we remove the veil, it the layers that are on top of you are crazy. It's going to take a long time. Like I can sit here for forever. Like this is, you need to learn how to shield yourself from the evil eye. Every day in the morning for 10 minutes, you imagine a golden root grounding you. If you don't know what it means to get grounded, because the other day I was trying to explain grounding, and the best way I can explain it is just get calm. If the word grounding just doesn't click, then get calm before you go about your day. 10 minutes every morning, you get calm. for 10 minutes. You imagine a gold root going all the way down to the ground, rooting you. This prevents attacks. When you are grounded for 10 minutes before you start your day, you prevent attacks because you feel them coming, you sense them coming, and you just catch them. But when you don't get grounded, that's when you get attacked. That's when you have a terrible day and you're like, what in the world happened? I have all these bruises because you didn't get grounded for those 10 minutes. Okay. So, Aquarius, a majority of the people that you have around you are not really your friends. You need to stop talking to almost everyone. Almost everyone that you talk to hates you. They look at you, they smile at you, they ask you how you're doing, and they hate you. They hate your guts because you're so pretty, you're so handsome, you're so healing, you're so happy all the time, you know? And you need to learn how to be more cutthroat, okay? Be more cutthroat where you're just not talking to people. You know, if you see someone that you don't like coming, just go the other way. I don't like where you work. I don't like where you work. For most of you, I hate where you work. Ugh, the struggle is real. Yeah, I don't like where you work. Um, Wherever you work, it's like you get layers and layers and layers of evil eye thrown at you. And I'm taking this veil off of you, but you're going to have to learn how to keep people from putting it on you again. Like a sword. If I were Aquarius, I would practice with two swords. Two swords about this big. Imagine two swords this big. You have them both on both hands. And in the morning, when you do your grounding, you do some, I want to say like Tai Chi, some movement, some body flow, and you work on these swords in cutting all these attempt crochets is how I want to call it. Like, oh, someone's attempting a crochet here. Someone's attempting a crochet here. We're going to cut it. Before you go to sleep, while you're even laying down in your bed, you just take the two swords and you just go around your whole body and remove those crochet attempts. And in the morning, you have to do it again because you were sleeping. Okay? People are throwing evil eye of crochet at you, and you have to be so karate ninja that they're not able to get you. You're just able to push that away and reject it. When you reject people's attempted crochets, when you reject people's evil eye and their jealousy, they net themselves. They become spider-webbed themselves. Okay. So if there's someone who has a lot of jealousy towards you and they don't understand, they might even have a mental breakdown in front of you because nothing is going their way. It's because they webbed themselves. Because when you were at your strong point, you rejected their negative web attempt. So it webs themselves. So when we do energy work, we're able to web the people that try to web you. When you don't do any energy work, when you take substance, drinking alcohol, all that is going to lower you down and make you susceptible to attacks. Aquarius, there is nothing wrong with your energy. If you are single, it's for a reason. You are being protected. So if you feel lonely and like, oh my God, why am I single? It's because you're being protected. You're being protected by either just really negative opportunities in your vicinity or just the transit, being protected from a very negative transit. If you are in a relationship, it's best if you move together and conjoin finances. That is all that I have for you. Let's move right along. Oh, Gemini. Gemini. Okay, what is wrong with you, Gemini? What is wrong with you? Why are you sponging? No sponge. You are sponging people's energy. If you feel sad, if you feel rebellious, if you feel angry, if you feel profane, where there's just so much profanity coming out of you, you are sponging someone's energy in your atmosphere from your routine, okay? And I want you to take it off. I want to start in this part of the body. I want to start this whole part. I want to just pull this out. I want to pull out this false identity, okay? We're pulling out this false identity and we're filling it up with this golden light and filling it up like putty, where you will feel more comfortable to be your true self. And we're just clearing out this false identity that you have. And you're going to reach a point where you're going to tell yourself, I'm the only one I'm fooling. By me being a false identity, I'm only fooling myself. And you might actually fall. You might actually trip. You might actually have an accident because of a negative thought, and that is going to light your epiphany on fire, where you're going to realize that fall happened because of a negative thought. I tripped because I had a negative thought. I almost got in a car accident because I was thinking something negative. What was that negative thought? That negative thought was a false identity. There are consequences to false identity. When you impose or embody a false identity, there's consequences, and the only one who's going to suffer those consequences is you. You are the only one who's going to suffer from those consequences. You're being false to yourself. If you're single, it's because you haven't found your true identity. You're having an identity crisis. You're having a wardrobe crisis. You don't know who you are. You don't know if you're straight. You don't know if you're bi. You don't know um, your sexual orientation. You're having issues with your gender representation. And you're single because your default hasn't been chosen, and the default that you try to choose for yourself is incorrect or not accepted. If you are in a relationship, don't splurge, okay? And then that's about all that I have for you. I want to keep yours really short because you have a lot of inner work to do. And I want you to be really honest with yourself. Write a report about your identity, a report that only you are going to read, okay? That's all the messages that I have for you today. Okay, and the next one that we have is Aries. Hello, Aries. So what we're going to be clearing for you today is going to be fear. Your fear tries to hide, goes from the mental to the heart, and then you try to clear it, and then it goes out the back and tries to hide. Okay, your fear wants to hide, and we're just basically going to clear. It's a S-shaped, so it's like S-shaped fear, and we're just going to be clearing it out at random places. Usually it's like, oh, start at the top, oh, start at the end, oh, start in the middle. We're going to clear it from multiple places because it likes to move, it likes to wiggle, it likes to hide. And we're clearing this S, and it does not want to be cleared. This fear is associated with anxiety, and we're going to take the anxiety, and it does not want to go. We're going to push it down, and we're going to transmute it, and we're going to use it as vital force energy, and it is now right underneath your belly button. All of your fear and all of your anxiety has turned to vital force energy that is underneath your belly button and is gold. What fear? What anxiety? I have vital force energy now. It's gone. The fear, the anxiety was a lie. How could you have believed it for so long? You know, there was a devastation that occurred in the soul heart area that triggered the S, but it's a lie. It's a lie because whenever we go through devastations, we tell ourselves lies, right? We tell ourselves lies. There's no one else for me. My heart is broken. There's no one else for me. And you begin to believe that lie. And you have to cancel, XX. I got my heart broke by the wrong person. That is what happened. You got your heart broke by the wrong person. Not that there's no one out there for you. You got your heart broke by the wrong person. You have to keep saying it until you believe it. You know, I have a similar story where I was devastated a couple years ago. I want to say, gosh, 9, 10 years ago. I was in a relationship with a warlock, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if, like, when you have a heartbreak, why does it hurt more when the other person practices some kind of magic? Like I don't know what it is. You know, it's like the ending was so bad. Like it was just such a horrible feeling. But I feel like heartbreaks hurt more when one or both parties practices either witchcraft or wizardmanship. I don't know why, but I just feel like those kind of relationships hurt the most because we thought there was potential or we thought that it would be the perfect combo, and then we're disappointed by our ego. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So I do understand your devastation, but I also understand that ego is immense. And when you go back and you're like, wait just a minute, let's rewind to the heartbreak. Let's rewind. Why was it really that it hurt so much? Is it because of a disappointment? Is it because ego? How much of a role did the ego and the disappointment play in the pain? And sometimes you will realize that it was actually ego or disappointment that caused the bigger part of the pain than the actual incident that caused the ending. You know, ego. I am telling you, this is a recovery channel. Ego is, in my theory, ego is the number one reason why people relapse. Okay? I don't care how many AA meetings you go to, NA meetings, recovery, refuge recovery, whatever. That is my opinion. It is ego that makes people relapse. It is always ego. So if ego is that big that it makes people just throw years and years of sobriety down, how different is it not in relationship dynamics when you wanted somebody and it didn't work out? You know what I mean? I just want to put that in there so that you kind of visualize how much of that pain actually came from ego and disappointment. Okay. Um, so I sympathize with you in never wanting to experience that kind of pain ever again. But that's the thing, is that when you have so much love to give, it means something. When you have so much healing power, it means something. It means that it's supposed to go to somebody and they're supposed to receive it. You know what I mean? It's like when we get our heart broken in general, generally speaking, when we get our heart broken, it got broken because that wasn't the right person. Imagine what beauty and pleasure you can experience when you surrender that trust to your person or the right person or whatever you want to call it. And then you will realize, this is why I'm such a loving person, because I'm supposed to be giving all of this love to somebody. So when a loving person gets their heart broke, they are so heartbroken by the ending because they have so much love to give. But that love is meant to go to the right person. Does that make sense? These are just collective readings. So keep that in mind, that these are just collective. If you are single, you're not going to be single no more. If you're single, you're not going to be single for long. If you're in a relationship, uh-oh. If you're in a relationship, the current dynamics need to end. There is a dynamic that needs to end, okay? And you need to start a brand new dynamic, okay? This is the old dynamic. This is the new dynamic. Ace of Hearts, okay? That is all that I have for you. Let's move on along to the next sign. We got Leo. Leo. Okay, Leo. So your trauma is immense. Okay, it is so immense. You're another one that is over here. I just want to pull it out if you let me. So there's like this, it's green. It's this green identity of sickness and disease and resentment that we've discussed before. And I'm pulling it all out. It's like a vine. It's like a vine, or just kind of. Okay, there you go. That's better. So, you, Leo, have told yourself a lie. And you refuse to let go of this lie. I need to drink some water. Give me 1 second. Okay, Leo. So, this is going to sound really strange because, energy doesn't always make sense in the physical, but you've been telling yourself a lie that you are unhappy, okay? For whatever reason. It's like how it started doesn't really matter. Let's just get rid of it. But there's this lie that the enemy has told you, whispered it to you. You're not happy. You are not happy. You're a train wreck. You are broken. And you believe it. Every day that goes by, you poker face and you fake the smile and you fake and you fake and you're not really happy inside. You're just pretending to be happy. Because you believed the lie that you are broken. And that is an entity, okay? So we're going to clear that out. It's audio distortion on your left ear. It begins in your left ear and then it just sticks. So we're clearing out this audio distortion that tells you that you're not happy. And we're going to use and transmute it. So we're going to go ahead and transmute it. So it's like spinning like a licorice, and we're transmuting it. So now the lie is going to not, now the lie is going to change and say, you are happy. You are happy. You are happy. You are happy. Leo is happy. Do you see how easy you believe that? How easy you believe that you are happy just by saying it, because it comes so natural, because it is natural, because it is you. You represent the inner light of humanity. Every sign represents a different part of humanity, and Leos represent the inner light of humanity. You represent the gene then. You represent the golden PowerPoint below your navel. And all you have to do is tell yourself that you are happy every single morning, even if you're not. And your mind will believe it. And every time that those little negative thoughts come in and trickle in, you're going to reject them. You're going to void them. And you're going to tell yourself, those are just lies. Those are just liars. And people think, oh, well, I don't want to look crazy talking to my voices. You have to reject them or clear them. You reject them, clear them, both simultaneously. Okay, you're not crazy. There are constant energies that don't want you happy. The main goal of these parasites and leeches is so that you are unhappy. And they come in so many forms. You know, they also come in vampire form, where, like, let's say someone is not very happy about your progression, so they will spy on you. They will spy on you and vampire you, and then you will feel like heavy and drained, and it's because somebody is just obsessed with spying on you. I don't think that you are dealing with vampire energy. I'm just using that as an example of other forms where lies come from. Lies will come from vampirism. People who just wish you harm will vampire you, and they will feed negative thoughts. Kind of like praying, like witchcraft praying. And you you will wonder, I mean, who knows, maybe it has happened to a couple of you. You will wonder, how come nothing good ever happens? How come I never get a promotion? How come my life feels like it's stagnant? Sometimes your life is stagnant because an energy vampire that wishes you harm is in your house all the time, making sure that you don't get what you want. Okay, preying on you that you don't get what you want. And then Source wants to bless you, but Source will not bless you if there's a bless blockage in your house, such as an energy vampire. Do you know what I'm saying? So, a lot of those are just lies, and you have to clear them and reject them. And every morning you say, I am happy. I am happy. I am happy every single morning. You have that power in your palms. I am happy. I am happy every morning. And it's so easy for you to believe it. Your body will believe it because it's your original embodiment. So as you say that every morning, it penetrates the inside and outside of your aura by just saying those words. And even if something were to try to attack you, when you're in a grateful state, nothing can harm you. If you're in a grateful state, you're on top. If you're grateful, humble, even if you don't feel that way, even if you don't feel happy, you just say so. Just say that you're happy. And look how fast it sneaks in. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute, I can choose to be joyous. I can choose to be joy. I can choose to be happiness. Yes, you can. It's one of those things that they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know that we can control what we are feeling. And if you don't tell people that, then they don't know that. And then they allow the liars to lie. Okay, Leo, let's just make sure that there's nothing else. There's no other vines in you. We're starting fresh. Don't allow negative thoughts to penetrate your spirit. Okay? You hold a very lit energy astrologically. Leo, you hold a very lit energy, and that lit energy is a power place, a power point. Anything negative that you say affects the sacredness of your position of power. Okay? And this is something that you've already sensed. You've already sensed this to the point where you're trying not to use bad words anymore because you're like, wait a minute, I am sacred. I am royal. Regardless of your financial situation, the true wealth is in energy and spirit. So even if you feel like you don't have anything, you are still royal. So for anything negative to come out of your mouth, it affects the sacredness of your position of power. If you are in a relationship, it's because of unfaithfulness or both parties having too many options, or there simply just being an interference or a third party. Leo, if you're in a committed relationship, you have to keep your options open in regards to your living situation. So if you're in a committed relationship, it's important for you and your person to explore a different state or different country, because the place that you lived in for too many years is the reason why there is a sense of stagnation and you feel deprived and uncontent, unsatisfied, unhappy, besides the other things that we were talking about. And that is because you have lived in the same place for too long. And if you expand your horizons and you and your person move to a different state or a different country, I recommend country. If you can, move to a different country, and any experience you have with your person is going to reactivate the love between you because you just feel like bored. You feel bored with life, and it's because you've lived in the same place for too long. Okay, let's keep it moving. We have Virgo. Hi, Virgo. What are we going to be clearing from you? Virgo, I can't clear something that you continue to call back into your life. Virgos, you are supporting something negative, okay? And you're wearing it like a shirt. And I'm telling you, like, I could clear it for you, but you have to maintain it. And there's something that you are supporting that you're not letting go of, and it is causing energetic issues that can repel potential lovers, I want to say. Okay. So for yours, I'm not being allowed to do a healing for you. I'm only being allowed to tell you to do it yourself. You're probably the only sign out of all the signs that I've done today that your guides are not allowing me to do that because it is a decision that has to come from you. Examples: pornography. Pornography brings demons, succubuses, incubuses into your house. And you might think that you're not affecting anybody, but you're affecting everybody in the household. You're opening up a portal of nasties into your sacred home, and it's not right. It's like if you want to open up portals when you live in your own studio by yourself. But if you live with children or you live with people who are sensitive, if you are living with healers or just living with anyone intuitive, empathic, you will affect the entire household. You will affect the entire building. So let's say you live in an apartment complex where the person upstairs or the person downstairs or the person to the left or the person to the right is watching porn. Guess what? All that nasty portal energy, demons, are going to be affected not only for that person's apartment, but everyone surrounding his apartment. Everyone is going to get affected by that portal. Okay. So your homework is to clear your own portal, Virgo. You have a portal that you've made and you know exactly what that is. And you are affecting your body, you're affecting your mind, you're affecting your health, your hygiene, the people around you. Look into finding a therapist or some kind of help for shutting the portal. The reason why I can't do it is because you continue to open it. I only do clearings for people who are interested in keeping the problem away, not people who are going to accept it and then an hour later they're at it again. If you are single, it's because you need to keep your options open and take your time to explore yourself and your own issues first. How would you feel if you were in a relationship with yourself? That will answer you whether or not you're ready for a relationship. How do you know if you're ready for a relationship? Would you date yourself? Would you marry yourself? Would you sleep with yourself? Do you think that you have enough to offer someone Do you offer that to yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you love yourself enough to take care of simple things that are like self-pampering? So the reason why you're single is because you have too many options in regards to exploring yourself, not other people. This has to do with exploring yourself. There's too much going on inside. Now, if you are an older Virgo and you're like, "What in the world? I'm like 60 years old. Why am I single?" You're single because you are still in denial about certain characteristics or addictions that you refuse to let go of. This, if it's not porn, it could be eating something you're allergic to. It could be an addiction to sugar. If you are in a relationship, it's probably going to end in divorce. These are just collective readings, okay? So I'm really sorry that your reading came out so blunt, but that's what my channel is about. It's about blunt diagnosis. Who do we have next? Is this the last one? No, almost the last one. Pisces. Whew. All right, Pisces, what do we need to clear for you? Okay, yours is going to be very similar to Gemini. Yours has to do with your identity. I'm pulling out this black false identity from the inside of you and just carving it out. Scooping and scraping and carving it out like a pumpkin. I want you to regress back, Pisces. Regress back to when you were 13 years old, 14, 15, 16 years old, okay? 13, 14, 15, 16. Why is it that you were more free back then than you are now? Now, you might own a company, you might be a teacher, a professor, a tutor, but you're not free. You might finally have owned your own house, you might have finally got married and settled down, but you don't feel free. Why is it that you felt free when you were 13, 14, 15, 16, and you're not free now? What changed? What changed? What changed? Please help me diagnose it. Where? What changed? Show me. Belief system, core belief system. So it's a ball. You have to change your core belief systems. Your core belief systems have taught you, you have programmed your own core belief system to believe a lie. You have programmed your core belief systems to a setting of limitation and restrictions and borders. I want you to become the yes man. I want you to become the yes woman, where you just say yes to everything. Not literally, but you know what I mean. I want you to just open yourself up like a parachute and refuse to believe in the answer no. I want you to become an explorer, adventurers. Be the person that you always were. 13, 14, 15, 16, you wanted to explore spiritually, physically. And someone convinced you of a sad story. And you believed that sad story. And you became restrictive and logical. And you lost your lightweight and became heavy. So we're going to lighten you back up using a feather. We're going to lighten your spirit up so it feels light as a feather. And even if you do nothing, even if you plan nothing, your core belief systems are changing. And now you believe that the borders are an illusion. The borders, the restrictions are an illusion, a delusion. Someone has put them there, but that doesn't mean that you can't go through it. Any limitation that any entity tries to put on you, it doesn't mean that you can't go over that limitation. And I'm talking about I'm talking about immigration, I'm talking about exploring the hidden continents, all the things that are taboo, that are on your list that you secretly put away and thought that you would never find the motivation or inspiration to again look at. Relook at it. Relook at your old journal from high school. And tell me that you don't get relit by the ideas that you put in that notebook. And you can even do some regression if you don't have that. You can just write down what are all the things that you felt, believed, and wanted to do when you were 13 through 16. And I want you to reactivate them, because when you were 13 to 16 for you, Pisces, that's when you were representing your genuine self. And that is the reason why so many people were attracted to you at school. So in high school, oh my gosh, you were a heartbreaker. Everybody wanted to be with you because you were representing your genuine self. Then you got older and you became logical. You became logical. You became an adult. And unfortunately, when people become adults and they become logical, they lose all of their free spirited spunk. And then you wonder why you're so miserable. Because you should have never got rid of that spunk. You should have never, ever got rid of that spunk. So bring back that spunk, Pisces. Infuse yourself with that genuine spunk that you had when you were 13 to 16 and slap it back on, because you were right back then. And you might be thinking, oh, but I was an addict. Oh, but I was a heavy drinker, or heavy this or heavy that. I'm not talking about what you were doing from 13 to 16. I'm talking about what you were believing. What you were believing when you were 13 to 16 was right. You were thinking that this world is this infinite, unlimited playground that you had full power over. And then somebody came and took that away from you by telling you a lie that it's not. So don't be so gullible when people come and want to burst your bubble. If they're bursting your bubble, then don't ever interact with them ever again. Because Pisces, you need to prioritize what it means to be free spirited again. Why have you put yourself in a box of restriction? And then you use things as an excuse, like, oh, my family, oh, my spouse, oh, my job. No, 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 no. I don't accept any of those excuses, okay? Push all those excuses to the side and reactivate your free spirited demeanor. When you reactivate that free spirited Pisces within you, even if it's a contradiction, because remember, you represent the fishies going opposite ways. If you feel like your true self is a contradiction, it means that you're right. It just means that you're neutral, and it's good to be neutral. There's nothing wrong with feeling like a contradiction, nothing at all. You know, um, it just means that you are very fluid when looking at different perspectives. So, Pisces, if you are single, You have someone that is interested in making you not single very quickly. Like, if you're single, there is someone who has their eyes and heart on you. If you're in a committed relationship, if you're in a committed relationship, there could be an interference where someone is not being honest, and that makes you really sad. And I don't want to see you sad. I want you to use that as motivation to go back to being free spirited. So let's say you're having complications in your marriage. Okay, let's use that as an excuse to transgress. Let's regress back to when we were 13 to 16. Oh, maybe this person isn't meant for me. Maybe I'm meant to be with my 10 other crushes. There's nothing wrong with that. I want you to do that. I want you to do that because if you do that, it means you're getting back into your own shell, your own identity, your true self. And the true self of Pisces is very resilient when it comes to love and doesn't make it a condition of whether or not you're happy. Like, oh, I'm not going to be happy because me and my spouse are going through things. That's not the Pisces I remember. The Pisces that I remember would use that as an excuse to go out with friends and say, hey, I'm having problems in my marriage. I'm going to go out with my friends and explore other opportunities where maybe it's because this person is not the one. Maybe somebody settled. Oh my gosh. That's about all the messages that I have for Pisces. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on. Who do we have? Who is the last one today? Let me make sure we don't have nothing else in here. Okay, we have Scorpio. Scorpio, what do we need to clear for you? So as of right now, it wants to hide. So we're going to do your clearing towards the end. If you're single, Scorpio singles, why are you single? If you're single, it could be because you're living with your mother. If you're single, it could be because you're living with family, and that makes your person of interest feel like you put your family above them, or you put your priorities are all about your family, and the person that is possibly interested in you wants somebody who is available and lives by themselves. Energy changes. These are just a collective reading. This is just for the ones who are single. For the ones who are single, your person doesn't really like that you're always with family, you're always taking care of family. They're kind of jealous of all the attention that you give to your family. They would secretly like for you to move out and live on your own. Okay? If you are in a relationship, if you are in a relationship, there's a dynamic that needs to end between you that is not working out. That dynamic could be dishonesty, like a dishonest dynamic. And once you talk about the elephant in the room, it's back to the honeymoon stage. Okay, so I get a lot of sexual energy for Scorpio, a lot of anger, a lot of sexual energy, a lot of disputes. That honest conversation needs to be had between the two of you, because the two of you desire each other in a very almost animalistic kind of way. It's very possessive. It's very like you have to work on respecting each other and talking about the elephant in the room. I don't see any like if you're thinking that this person is hiding something, I don't really see that they're hiding a person. I think that there's just conversations that need to be had before the honeymoon feeling comes back. Okay, so for your clearing, I just want to do a balancing where you're just kind of balancing your life. So you tend to just focus on one thing. Like, let's say that is just family. Let's do a little balance so that you're able to balance your life and expand your routine where you're just kind of closed off to one thing. We're just going to kind of expand you so that you become more, I want to say complex towards your routine. Okay. You're too focused on one thing and you want to kind of open yourself up, look at your schedule throughout the day. Look at your schedule throughout the day and see how you are being too rigid. Okay. And then we're also going to do one more thing for the entity that's hiding. I have spotted it and it is behind you, and we're going to go ahead and clear that. So I am clearing this. It looks like a monster that is behind you, and it has affected your space because you watch too much tarot or you watch too many scary movies or too many like haunted documentaries. Like, trust me, I like watching documentaries of scary things too, but I like to limit it. I try to limit it to watch very like tiny bit of it. I know I'm guilty of that, but I know you have to be really careful with those kinds of things. There's just something that you're doing too much of, like too much researching the dark arts, too much, just watching too much tarot. Tarot has an entity that possesses the users, and the reason why this beast like entity was behind you was because you continue to feed it. Okay, you continue to feed it, and when you feed negative entities, you invite them to stay. Okay, so it's important for you to make a decision on what kind of path you want to take. Do you want to continue taking the path that is going to constantly attach itself to you? Like, every sign has a weakness. Every sign has their addictions, and Scorpio has an addiction to darkness. Okay. And at some point, you're going to have to make a decision. What path do you want to be on? You can't be on two paths. It's like you can't be a good witch or a bad witch. You can't be evil or angelic. It just doesn't work that way. You have to choose a path. It's kind of like if you are dabbling on one side, then you are that side. You are the side that you dabble in. You you are the person who you dabble. You know what I mean? So even if you're good half the time, but the other half you're dabbling, which one do you think you're going to get credit for? You're going to get negative credit, negative virtue from the one that's dabbling. So you have an addiction to dabbling. And do you want your space to be cleared? Scorpio, do you want to know what it feels like to live in a cleared space? Because it just seems like you're addicted to infestations, where it's like some of you don't even care. Some of you will sit there and watch something you know you're not supposed to be watching for hours, and then there's an infestation, and you don't even care that there's an infestation. At some point, you're going to have to think, my God, maybe I should start paying attention to what energies I'm inviting to my sacred space. This is the reason why I don't do tarot. I do not do tarot because tarot is um, an entity that possesses you. Okay? The entity possesses the user, and that's all there is to it. And you can be in denial and say, no, it doesn't. But there's a reason why I don't use it. I used to use it. The last time I used it was like, oh my, like 12, 13, 14 years ago. There is this one deck that I am in love with because of the artwork, but I cannot keep it because when I tried to keep it, it had a presence with it. There's a presence, there's a negative presence that comes with tarot. Okay. And also, I don't like it because it all sounds the same. It all sounds the same, repetitive, and just so repetitive. Like, I've watched tarot a couple times. I find it interesting. But I know that it's not something that I can have on for hours. It's just like sometimes I get really bored. So I know how you feel, Scorpio, when you're just like really bored and you want something to watch. But I just like lately, I can't even remember. I think it's maybe once every 3 months. If I'm going to be honest, I probably watch tarot once every 3 months. And every time I do, I'm like, yeah, this is why I don't. Because it sounds so repetitive. It sounds like what pisses me off is when the reader announces the card. Like, just the announcing of the card makes me want to shut off the video. Like, I'm so tired of hearing the announcement of the cards. Like, just read. Okay, where were we? Scorpio. Yeah, somebody is really interested in you. It's just that they think that you don't have your marbles together. They think you don't have your sheep together. They're just kind of like, they want you to get your stuff together so that they can be in a stable relationship with you. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Um, in regards to keeping that entity away, the entity that we cleared, that now that I'm looking at it more clearly, it was a werewolf. So we cleared a werewolf that was kind of like trying to tell you what to do. You are in charge of your own life, Scorpio. Don't sell yourself out to randoms, random entities, random spirits. Like, don't allow things to possess you. Because, Scorpion, you are naturally powerful. There's no need for you to sell yourself out, to sell yourself short to some lower vibrational ass organizations or cults. Okay? I don't do no yoga. I don't do any of that. I don't do this like these little kundalini groups. I don't do none of that because all of those things are agendas to hijack your soul. Okay? Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to hijack humanity either way? Because we are powerful beings and we have been lied to our entire lives. We have been told that we are not. They constantly try to chop pieces off of us. We originally had, there are parts of us that have been removed by attacking forces. And the reason why they attack so much is because they don't want you to know how powerful you are. There are healing frequencies that are in museums that are supposed to restore the human's natural state of being, and it pisses me off that those Tartarian human resonance instruments are behind glass. They're behind glass. They need to be taken out of the museum and actually played. But, it's the world that we live in. We live in a world where you basically can't trust anything. Everything is infiltrated. TVs, commercials, Netflix, everything is negative. Everything is cursed. Everything is hexed. And if you have that as your mindset, that everything is like that, then you protect yourself and you take control of your own energy and your own reality. And one of the things that they have withheld from humanity is that we have a remote control inside our brain, inside our head. We have this little remote control that we are able to control what emotion we are in. Okay. And they don't want humans to know that. They don't want humanity to know that the remote control, that you have it, that you have it. They try so hard to take away the remote control from humanity because they don't want humanity to get a hold of those devices that we already have within us. And is another reason why I don't know if you've noticed that they don't want us to have pets. They don't want us touching animals. They want to make it illegal for you to touch a dolphin, for example. All of these ridiculous laws are there for a reason. They don't want humanity to connect with animals because animals guide you to the truth, to the ancient truth, to the ancient way of living. Dolphins, a long time ago, were midwives. The dolphins would help the indigenous women give birth. With the frequencies that the dolphin sounds would make, it would communicate to the baby through those frequencies. It would align the baby for a natural, healthy birth. And now, why are there so many complications for birth? There's so many complications because the enemy has taken control and wants to take away your experience by taking how you choose to give birth. They want to put you on all these wires. They want to tell you you're diabetic. They want to cut you open and give you a cesarean, all these unnatural methods. I could write a book when it comes to the medical board and giving childbirth. If you are pregnant, I highly suggest that you get yourself a midwife and have your baby at home because a hospital is one of the most dangerous places that you can have a baby. People are having horrible experiences at the hospital where the doctors and nurses want to force inject your newborn. It hasn't even inhaled its first breath and it gets attacked and swarmed by doctors and nurses wanting to force vaccinate your newborn with multiple poison, with multiple injections of poison. And if you don't comply, they call the police on you. Okay? So if you're pregnant, get yourself a midwife. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.